Hi there and welcome to the We Are Change talk show. Today we'll be hearing from a viewer who received a letter from their bank stating that their accounts were being closed without sufficient grounds. I'll play a video that will give you a further idea on the situation and then we'll go straight to the interview.
So this is the state of play here in Australia. This is a letter I received a short while ago from the Westpac Bank or Westpac Group. It's the most appalling state of affairs. This is a letter basically saying that they're going to close down two of my bank accounts and that they offer no explanation whatsoever, and that I'm not to attempt to use any of the following, affiliated services, which would include, St George Bank, Bank of Melbourne, Westpac, Rams, Bank SA, to name a few. I'm locked out. Now, they give no explanation whatsoever, so let's read this letter together. Your accounts are being closed. This letter is to provide you with notice that Westpac has made the commercial decision that we will no longer be able to provide you with our banking and financial services. We have taken this into account after careful consideration and with regret in accordance with the applicable account terms and conditions which are available online. It is not a comment on your conduct or any other aspect of relationship with us. We hope you will appreciate that we will not able to provide you with any further information about our commercial imperatives. It is very important that we treat our customers fairly. Oh yeah, fucking right, fairly. Yeah, you close their accounts down with no just cause and no reason and no explanation and none given. Yeah, fucking Westpac treat their customers really fairly. We understand our decision may be inconvenient. Fucking that's an understatement. There's about 50 payees on that list, and we have allowed what we believe is a reasonable notice period, fucking couple of weeks. If you believe you will require a short extension of time, please let us know, and we'll give fair consideration to any reasonable request for extension of time. Well, just on that front, I did make a request after making many complaints and getting nowhere, even contacting the financial ombudsman, and they were useless. Now, I asked for an extension of time, and my extension of time was legitimate and reasonable considering, and the account has been closed since, so no luck there. So let's read on. How will this affect you? The following accounts will be closed on the 13th of August 2019. You may personally close these accounts before the 13th of August. If the accounts are not closed by then, we will close them for you, or close them and post you a cheque for any credit balance your accounts. So here are the two accounts I run with them. One is a personal account, and the other one is more for business operations. In general here. If you have any direct debits or credits established, yes, I fucking do, including any salary deposits on your accounts, we encourage you to make alternate arrangements for these payments and or deposits at your earliest convenience. Any services facilities offered in connection with the above accounts will cease on the closure of the accounts. Following the closure of the accounts, access to the other Westpac Group services, including Westpac, St George, Bank of Melbourne, Bank SA, Rams or BT, will not be available to you. Fucking hell, why not? If you have any questions, please contact customer care on 132032. Yours sincerely, Westpac Banking Corporation. No man or woman, no signature, nothing, just a corporation, right? Now, for what it's worth, I did contact this number and voiced my disapproval, and I had some questions, and all they kept saying was, and the party line I get, no matter who I speak to at Westpac, is refer to the letter, and they won't expand any further. Absolutely fucking disgusting. Westpac Group, you should be ashamed. Absolutely ashamed. Words fail me.
So Paul, thanks for joining me on the show. Now, you received a letter from your bank stating that they are closing your account without any explanation. This would have come as quite a shock. Tell me how it all came about.
Yeah, that's it, Jeff. It was a real shock, mate. First of all, I don't have any criminal records. I don't get involved in any criminal activities. I'm regular Joe. Couple of speeding fines in my entire career. That's about it. I'm 52 years of old, a businessman, 2 kids, a family, run an aviation business. Yeah, there's nothing weird about me. I mean, it probably is, but there's nothing illegal about me or unlawful. So I don't understand it at all. Yeah, I got a letter from the bank back in the 8th of July. There it is there. You may have already, inform some of your viewers. Yeah. I spoke to you earlier about this, before I went overseas to a convention for my work. I received this letter, as I said, on the 8th of July. It was very concerning. It came in registered post. So, they weren't mucking it around. I've got the envelope somewhere, but it was registered post, had to sign for it. So I thought, what was this? Normally you'd expect legal documents or something like that. Anyway, when I opened it, I was shocked, Jeff. I got this letter saying that both of my accounts are going to close. One of them is a personal account, which is just day-to-day food and bills and whatnot, and the other one is my business account, which is more serious. That has a business account, I should say. That's carries the cash I need to and the monies I need to operate a business. And they were guaranteeing that the accounts were going to be closed on the 13th of August, which didn't give me a lot of time. By the time I got the letter, which is probably about the 10th, didn't give me a lot of time, not even a month, I would think.
Now, this is a very serious issue. It has the potential to do immense financial harm and impact your livelihood.
Oh, look, just let's say, for instance, there's X amount of money in that business account, and it's the sole account I use for trade and day-to-day operations, and all of a sudden you're being told that the account is going to be closed. So it was quite alarming. I contacted the bank immediately, of course, to understand what the hell was going on. The letter actually reads, I'll read this particular paragraph, like for your viewers out there to understand some of the contents. It's only a one-page letter, basically. It's just not signed by any man or woman. It's just generated by their system. But this particular paragraph, I think, was reading quite interesting. It says, we have taken this decision after careful consideration and with regret, and in accordance with our applicable account terms and conditions, which are online. It is not. This is the sentence. It is not a comment of your conduct or any other aspect of your relationship with us. So therefore, they're basically saying, you haven't done anything wrong. We just don't want you. We don't want your business. We hope you appreciate, and this is absurd because I don't appreciate this. We hope you will appreciate that we are not able to provide you with any further information about our commercial imperatives or decisions. So what that basically means, Jeff, is that they won't offer an explanation, and they're not going to. And that is the case. I contacted the bank several times to understand what could be done. They said nothing could be done. They were given the party line every single time that I'm just to refer to the letter, and nothing further on the letter will be expanded upon. Australian Financial Complaints Authority, that's the new body that was once the Financial Ombudsman, Jeff. So anyway, I contacted the Ombudsman on this matter. I lodged a complaint, put all the relevant details in. Took them a couple of weeks. In fact, I was overseas when I got the complaint, their response or their decision. And the decision was basically along the lines of just like a customer can close a bank account, so too can the bank. And I do sort of accept that. However, a customer would generally have a reason for closing an account, and you would offer that, and there would be a reason. I can't get a reason for why Westpac Group closed my account. And further, I do believe it's discrimination, because I can't at my business say, I don't sell my product to Aboriginals or Jews, right? That would be considered. I believe that would be grounds for discrimination. So I thought, look, I haven't got time to fight this. What I was actually more focused on in the end, Jeff, is all right, bugger it. I'll get my money. I'll just get my money back. As they say in the letter, if you don't close your accounts by the 13th of August, take note of that date, by the way, the 13th of August, we will basically close the account for you. So 13th of August, when I got back from overseas, it was about August the 2nd or 3rd, right? And the first thing I did when I got back was contact the bank about a little bit of an extension, because I've got about 50 or so payees on this online banking, so it's quite inconveniencing to just, all of a sudden have to fix that.
Absolutely.
So I want a little bit more time. I'll read you the bit that talks about the time extension being offered. We will give fair consideration to any reasonable request for a time extension, right? So, and it says, if you believe you will require a short extension of time, please let us know and we will give fair consideration, right, to a reasonable request for an extension of time. Great. So I get back. I've been away for 2 weeks. I've got to get busy on this. So I contacted and said, listen, could you give me an extension of time? And I spoke to the number on the thingo, on their letter, which was 132032. And I spoke with Westpac on this matter and requested the time extension. They said they would look into it. How much time would I want? And I said, look, 30 days would be great. And with that, I didn't hear back from them. And then what happened, Jeff, was then subsequently the 13th of August came and went, right?
Yes.
The 13th of August came and went. You know, we're up to the 27th now. And then I thought, well, okay, the time extension must be in play. This is great. You know, just give me a bit more time to organise myself. I'm busy at work, catching up with things coming back from overseas. So, and then all of a sudden, I think it was on Thursday, which was the 21st or 22nd, well after the 13th of August, my account's still up and running, no problems. Boom, I go to log in and I can't access any of the accounts. I can't move any money. I can't pay anybody. I can't pay my staff, any of my contractors, nothing. I thought, oh, shit, this is weird. What's happened to that time extension? Surely that's in play. Well, I contacted the bank and they said that the accounts have been closed. I said, well, what happened to the time extension? He said, oh, we emailed you several times on that. And I said, no, you didn't. You didn't. And I was adamant about this. I still am to this day. Put my kid's life on the line. They did not respond to that email. They did not give me verification on whether the bank accounts were closed. They threw me a real curveball because if I had known that, I would have gone down before the 13th of August and got that money out. Well, so where we are right now, after hours on the phone, I've lodged yet another complaint with AFCA on the grounds. Now, this is the bit that's really concerning. That when I call Westpac earlier today, and then on Thursday, they told me they would give me no information as to where my 44 grand's gone. Now it's 44,000. So I actually on that front.
It's enough for someone to almost have a panic attack. This is going to affect you as a business owner in your capacity to pay employees and be able to maintain that business. And you've also contacted the Ombudsman as well, and they were less than helpful.
Hopefully I'm not giving any, if I'm divulging any sensitive information, just don't use it, Jeff. But you can see there, I don't know if you can see that, but the closing balance is like, I don't know, where is it? Should be there somewhere.
Yeah.
40, yeah, zero, right? So it says 44,000.
Yeah.
And now it's zero. So I contacted them and said, "Oi," and I got that today. That's the statement I got today, right? So, and I knew it was zero. And I said, right, okay, it's $44,762, right? So I said to them, listen, I don't give a shit that you know, I said, where's that money? Where is that money? I said on Thursday. Well, I need access to that dough. And they said to me, we can't offer you information. And this is the scary bit. This is no bullshit. They said, we can't offer you any info. I said, let me get this right. My bank account went from $44,672 at the start of the day, and right now it's zero. And you won't tell me where that money is. No. So you're not going to post it to me. You're not going to offer me any information. And, Jeff, that's today still where I stand. I rang them this morning and said, where is my money? Where is it? What have you done with it? And they won't tell me. They won't. They say that the guy on Thursday said that, look, we can only speculate because he can't get into the information. That's Westpac themselves. Can't get to the information.
It's the least they can do. After the bank fees and everything and being a loyal customer over the years, this is very appalling to be treated like that. And trying to recoup these funds, it's frightening.
If you were an anxious man, Jeff, and, you know, I've been around for a while, you know, 50 grand, 44 grand's 44 grand, I'd imagine it. But listen, right now, if that 44 grand doesn't turn up, I don't know how, I mean, I need that money for business operations. That'll make it difficult for me, right? Now, where would that, like as I said, right now, any other person would be having a panic attack. They'd be thinking, fuck, the government or some entity has just stolen 44 grand. That's literally where it is right now. Like when I ring up Westpac, I normally say to them, hey, you stole 44,000. What are you going to do with it? Where is it? Where is it? And they can't answer the question. They won't answer it, and they can't answer it. It's laughable.
And you've been into the branch as well and spoke to the bank manager?
Mate, I've spoken to all of them. Here's another little story. So I go down to the local branch here, who I'm friendly with the staff members there. They're good people, right? They're not in on it. They're just good people. And I go in there and I tell her this story. And she says, she's a nice lady. She says, oh, Paul, send me the letter. So I sent her the letter, and she said, Paul, your accounts aren't going to be closed. It's a mistake. It's just a simple mistake, right? Oh, okay. So I send her the letter, and I email it to her. She gives me her email at work directly, which is nice, and her phone number at the local branch here. She contacts me 2 days later, and I'm not saying she's an unfriendly woman, but her demeanour had certainly changed to the party line that I've been receiving. Paul, we can't offer you anything other than what's on the letter. I'm sorry, I can't assist you any further. That was it. Boom. I've gone from being a great customer, we're not going to lose you, to I can't assist you any further, can't say anything more. And that's basically the party line that all the staff members at Westpac have been giving me. They first start off like saying, no, it's a silly mistake, we'll sort this out. And then all of a sudden, no, we can't offer you any more information on this other than what's on the letter. That is the party line. It's alarming. I spoke to the guy, Jeff, on the last conversation I had with him on Westpac's, contact.
The customer service line?
Customer service,
yes.
Right. And he said to me, I said to him, he said his name was, let's say, Peter. I said, Peter, how long have you been working for Westpac for? And he goes, 5 years. I said, Peter, in all this time, in all your time working for Westpac, how many times have you seen this scenario? He said, twice. So, yeah, I don't know, Jeff. It certainly makes you feel like there's something wrong with you, or there's. I don't understand why they take this position. I don't understand at all. So, I guess I'll never know. But right now, as it stands, my 44 grand is still floating out in the electronic land somewhere, and I don't have any funds, and I don't know where it is, and I don't know when it's going to turn up. I don't, right? If it's ever going to turn up. So
very scary. There could be a physical check in the mail, but they're not telling you. What did the financial ombudsman say, Paul?
I just contacted. This is the second complaint. So the first complaint was over the closure of the accounts first and foremost, and based on the ombudsman's decision on that, it wasn't in his jurisdiction. He can't override the bank's decision because they've got the right to do that. It's not a contract, so then that people should be aware of that. Just as you have the right to close an account, so do they. But as I said, you'd think if they were going to close it, there'd be reasons, criminal activity, I guess, money laundering, that sort of thing, But there's no criminal actions, and you see the letter says they're not claiming I've done anything wrong. They're just their determination. Fucked if I know why. Probably some AI algorithm just doesn't like my profile or whatever's on there. As I said, there's no signature, there's no name on the document. It's just Westpac Corp. I wouldn't be surprised if the whole thing, as I spoke to you earlier, was generated by, no signature, nothing there, just Westpac Banking Corporation. It's just generated by their artificial intelligence, which I believe is going to become more and more prominent as they filter through the livestock and work out which ones they want and which ones they don't. So if you set up things like express trusts or alternate fundings or private banking or other means, that they're not going to, and they get wind of that, they probably think, we don't like him, he's not as legal as we'd like him to be, so we'll get rid of him. It could be a risk.
And if there was other account holders in this same predicament, you could look at filing a class action, but this looks like an isolated incident, so it leaves you on your own, doesn't it?
Yeah, look, it would appear that way. And the only other letter I found that's identical to that, by the way, the letter is word for word identical, other than the details, so who they're sending it to. There was one other letter I found exactly the same as this, and I think I might have sent you a link to it. And it was a guy that was involved in hate speech, one of those types of individuals that's involved in it's politically incorrect,
I think his name was Blair Cottrell.
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah, right wing guy. Blah blah blah. Westpac took exactly the same approach with him. But I'm not, as I said, I have certain views, but I'm not public. I don't voice any opinions. I'm certainly not a public figure that gets out and stirs things up. So there's a massive difference between an individual like him and me. But obviously that there's something in my profile and my friend's profile that they don't like, and the algorithms, the AI, I believe, has picked up on it, and boom. But anyway, that's where we're at. Right now, I don't give two shits about Westpac. I couldn't give a stuff. I've written a complaint to them, and I have filed a second complaint with the Ombudsman based on the fact that my 44 grand is missing. and I need that lickety split, right? I don't give a shit that Westpac have closed my accounts. That's done and dusted now. I've moved on. I don't care about that. I will let people know, but I'm done and dusted on that. What I want now is my money. I need the money, Jeff, and it's unacceptable for me to have to wait an extended period of time for that. And what's more unacceptable is that there's no explanation as to where it is and when it's coming. That, to me, is deplorable.
Absolutely, and it's only understandably so that you would be beside yourself and panic-stricken. Anybody would be. Have you informed your employees about this potential financial matter?
Yeah, mainly contractors here. My contractors are well aware of it. They're good. They're close to me. I share stuff with them, and they're aware of it. They know it's bullshit, and I've got funds to look after them, but not for long, not for too long. I'm going to either need to make money quickly or get this dough back, which gives me a little bit of a buffer. Without that money, I don't have any buffer. I'm running pretty much. Well, put it this way: I'm already in default with my loan, house repayments. My property repayments. I'm going to have to catch up on those once I get access to the funds. Also, other things like rent and bits and pieces. They'll come automatically out of those accounts. I don't have those funds right now.
It seems to me like you have a case for discrimination, and these funds you should be reimbursed, and also any out-of-pocket expenses as well.
Yeah, I would think interest should come into play. I would think that discrimination would come into play if I want to pursue that. I would think that any defaults or any fees that I incur because of any defaults should come into play. The other thing too that's annoying is that when I ring up Westpac about, hey, what happened to the notification or about the time extension? What happened to that? They're adamant that they sent multiple emails to me, and I believe they're lying through their teeth. I believe they did nothing. They just ignored me. But there is record that I made that contact about the time extension. And as I said, Jeff, if they had have denied or refused my time extension request, fine. At least I know where I stand. I've got to get down to the bank before the 13th of August. But they didn't respond. They didn't send me anything. Absolutely. I've checked my junk, spam, all that. I'm not an idiot. I know my emails. I confirmed through A for Alpha, D for Dog, C for Cat. We made sure that every letter of the email address was correct, and it was. They've got my contact details. I've got a profile with them. They used my email, but they didn't send anything, Jeff. They freaking didn't send anything. Yet they claim that they did multiple times that they did, but they didn't. They just ran this situation through to the 20th of August, and when they closed the account suddenly, without any, without informing me about what the situation was regarding the extension of time. I rightly assumed the extension of time had been put in place because the 13th of August was now the 20th of August, and the accounts are still running.
Absolutely, and you have sufficient grounds to have the time limit extended. Being a business owner, that would definitely fall within those grounds.
Oh, that's right. Okay. Look, if they had to give me a week or 2 weeks, but I said, look, would 30 days be reasonable? And they said, look, we'll get back to you on that. Okay, thank you. So there we are. But they didn't get back to me, and yet they still went ahead and closed my accounts 7 days later after the date, right? So what's that? Why didn't they close it on the 13th? Why did they wait till the 20th? I don't get it, Jeff. I don't get what they're doing. But now, what's also disturbing that your viewers might be aware of is now me, the man, can't use other affiliated banks within the Westpac group, and those are Westpac, St George, Bank of Melbourne, Bank SA, Rams, or BT. None of those I can use indefinitely. That's it. Blackballed from those. Why? Who knows? But that's it. I can't use those anymore.
It's a very serious concern. I'm actually with Westpac myself, and when I heard about this serious problem, I went down and I spoke to one of the tellers, and obviously they weren't privy to some of that information. Like yourself, you raised these issues. Obviously they've been contacted by their superiors and silenced in regards to this matter.
Definitely. Often what they would do, Jeff, when I was on the call centre, and even the girl at the branch, she at the branch, she was like, oh, no, Paul, no, you're a great customer. We don't want to lose you. No, you'll be fine. But once she'd made the necessary communications, much like the people on the call centre, They go very quick. They go very stern. They be off the phone for like 10, 15 minutes while they make the inquiries. They come back with the party line. Can't offer you anything. What's on the letter? Oh, I'm sorry, Paul. I'm sorry, Paul. Like, they get quite firm too. So, yeah, there's someone up there, they know something. But what was, as I said, what was alarming was what, in recent times, all I've been doing is trying to chase down, shit, where's that bloody money? It's gone. You know, I can't get to it. And I can't, they won't tell me. They will not actually to this day tell me where it's gone or what they're doing with it, right? And, you know, I don't know. They won't say anything. Like, all I want to hear from them is, Paul, we can confirm your accounts have been closed, obviously, and a check for the credit that you have with the bank, 44 grand, that's on its way to you. You'll have it within 4 or 5 days. None of that. That's all I want to hear, Jeff. Right now, that's actually all I want to hear. So I've complained to the Ombudsman that basically Westpac have taken my money. They won't tell me where it is. My accounts have been closed. I'm out of pocket this amount of money. Do something. Do something now. It's urgent, right? So that's where the Ombudsman's at now. Now, I'm absolutely certain, Jeff, and I will keep you informed, that the Ombudsman will act on this one. They will act on this one. They can't do anything about the lack of contract and forcing the banks to maintain my accounts or keep them open. That's not their problem. But this one is. This one is. That money needs to be accounted for, and it needs to be accounted for quickly, and a person should have peace of mind knowing that there is a process in place. Oh, where's it gone to? Just the Illuminati? Where is it? Where's it? The government got it? They told me that the two entities would be able to garnish that money. But Westpac themselves, in other words, close your account, write you a check, garnish the money, send it back to you. That's hopefully what's happened. But the other garnishment could be government agency. Government agency could just go in there for whatever reason. If they've got, I still think you need a court order. I don't know. But I'm not aware of any issues with government agencies, you know. So, and if I did, you'd think you'd know. So, but right now, all I can do is ponder, and that could drive someone nuts, right? And when you ring up the bank, they won't give you anything. So you go to bed thinking, shit, what's going on? What's going on?
A lot of sleepless nights you would incur because of this problem. Now, let's say best case scenario, you recoup the funds, every last cent. Who's to say you don't go to another one of the big 4 banks and then you run into this same problem?
Well, this is what you worry about, that you've got the system has got you pegged. So I've already opened up a bank account with Bank West, and I've got that up and running. I've got a handful of dollars in there now ready to put this money in. Now, the banks can take 7 days to send a check. Apparently, the guy said if it is being sent by mail, it'll take 7 days, and then it'll take another 3 days to clear, right? So let's say I get my hot hands on the check on Thursday or Friday. The weekend's gone. I take it to the bank. There's another 3 days. It's nearly half a month, you know, to get your money back at best. And in the meantime, staff got to get paid. Bills have got to get paid. Yeah. Owner beware, you know, like buyer beware, you know. I've told Westpac this morning, my partner jumped onto their Facebook fan page and left some fairly stern words of fact. I did get a response back from, it's actually on this phone. So, but and I basically told them, look, I'm starting my public exposure of this bullshit. And they said, oh, please let us, you know. So he sent me to the website, and it's the same frickin' thing, just the call centre, a complaints form. It'll go nowhere. I'll go through the process, let them know, but it'll go nowhere. It'll do nothing. I actually had the guy in the bank give me the bum rush yesterday when I rang him up in a bit of a panic, saying, oi, you told me that I could call next day. You'd have more details on this. What's happening? I called him next day, and he says, oh, Paul, we can't offer you any more information. I'm not going to spend an hour on the phone with you. I said, oh, I'm really sorry. I'm sorry. Just a man wanting to know. I said, listen, you tell me where that 44 grand is, mate. I'm off the phone in 15 seconds. But I said, you don't tell me where that money is, mate. You're going nowhere, you know.
Very disrespectful to treat customers like that.
Shocking. He said to me, well, I can't spend time on you, Paul. We spent an hour on Thursday. I said, yeah, we spent an hour on Thursday because I want to know where my money is, and I need you to make the necessary inquiries. You told me, I said to this guy, I'll tell you what, I might even have his extension. Fuck him.
Yeah. A lot of people are worried that the banks are going to go into solvency, and, you know, we're already hitting negative interest rates. We're heading into...
Well, as I said, Jeff, it's funny that this has happened. It's probably good timing because, as you know from my discussions with you, my research indicates that fiat currency has got cracks widening every week. 2008 will be nothing compared to what's coming. My research says that fiat currencies last 35 to 40 years. We're 3 or 4 years overdue. We're in massive debt. You've seen what's happened around the world. Look at what's happening here in Australia with the housing markets. They're pulling the interest rates down. They're setting us up for zero interest rates. At the same time, Australia have learnt from the mistakes of other countries that when they go to zero or negative interest rates, people start pulling their cash out of the bank. So they snuck through the proposal for legislation 2 or so weeks ago on a Friday evening. No one knows, none of the mainstream media covered it, that it is going to be illegal and jailable offence if you remove anything more than 10 grand cash from your bank. The reason that they're doing that, Jeff, is because the banks already know from history that as soon as you go negative interest rates, everybody goes to the bank to pull out their cash. So they've already put a firewall in place for that. They're going to, no, don't take your cash out, you'll go to jail. So you've got to leave your cash in there at negative interest rates for it to get eroded and for them to do what they want with.
That's exactly what's happening. It's like a house of cards, and it all starts collapsing.
What's happening. It's exactly what's happening. As I said to you, my endeavours, and this to me, what's happened at Westpac is just bang. That's the warning light. That to me is my flag. So when this money eventually appears, the way I'm going to distribute it is not going to be throw it all back into a bank account to have no access to it. If you've got 10 grand, and take this as read as well. This isn't just money withdrawn from the bank. If you've already been smart enough and hoarded some cash, mind you, cash is shit. But anyway, if you've hoarded some cash and you've got a safe under your bed and you've got 10, 20 grand in there and you go and buy a used car with 10 grand cash, you go to jail. That's illegal. You can't do that either, Jeff. And you can't spend 5, then another 5, then another 2. You can't do it like that either. If you spend more than 10 grand on a transaction, whether it be at the bank, out of the bank, money under the bed, if it's cash, it's illegal. Right? So you will not be able to buy a used car for anything more than 10 grand cash. You can't use 2 lumps of 5 to get the job done if that's in their eyes illegal and jailable. So,
I think a lot of that's under the guise of taxation. They want to make sure every cent's accounted for. But when you earn that money and that's your blood, sweat and tears, that's your property. They have no right to tell you how it should be spent and in what denomination.
Oh, of course that. But I don't know if it's just about tax. I think what it's more about is control. And they don't want, when the currency starts to break apart and the whole thing falls apart, which it will, which of course that's how the elite get the transfer of wealth. Because what happens is the real estate, and note the words real estate, that's property, that's things, right? Metal, things that are made of things, houses, cars, real estate. That's how they transfer the real wealth, by swapping over you have the funny coloured paper, and when you go into default, we'll come and take your real property, right? And that's how they transfer the wealth. That's how it works. But what's going to happen, Jeff, is with the negative interest rates, it's more, the cash thing is more, they can't monitor it and that's problematic for them, but that's always been the case. It's more so that they don't want people pulling money out of the bank, putting it under their mattress, and that's what's exactly going to happen. It's what's happened in other countries. So they've already put a stopgap in. They've already taken measures with previous knowledge, which is by putting an illegal restriction on the use of cash to stop that.
It's unbelievable, isn't it? For quite some time, we've been urging a lot of the viewers to put money into cryptocurrencies. That's like a Swiss bank account in your pocket.
Yeah, I mean, I always think there's a way for them to get at it, but I do think that gold, silver, cryptocurrency, expensive autographs, paintings, things like that, you don't have to use frickin' coloured Monopoly paper. I mean, hey, look, there's $1 million bill. I mean, it's just paper. It doesn't mean anything. You can go to Venezuela with all that cash. It just means nothing. Greece and Australia not far behind. It's just rubbish. It's just fiat currency. It's backed by nothing. So when the shit hits the fan, it turns to rubbish. But if you do happen to be holding precious metals or items that are of value, they'll still hold their own. Go to Venezuela with an ounce of gold. So there you go. You'll buy half the country, Jeff.
That's right. Money should be stored in a safe spot where it's not going to depreciate over time and then be worthless.
Well, look at cash. It is you put money in the bank, it's going to go backwards. It's going to be zero soon, and it's going to be back negative soon. So yeah, there's no future in cash. I mean, and property market's dangerous as well. People got overinflated houses. The bubble bursts on that. It's going to be a bit of a mess. So you've got to keep your eye on the ball. My feeling right now is a mixture of fiat currency. A little bit of fiat currency just to get by your day-to-day businesses. Cryptocurrency, of course, gold, silver, maybe artifacts of value such as signed sporting memorabilia, paintings, signatures, blah, 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 anything like that. That sort of stuff's going to hold value, particularly when the other items become zero. You know what I mean? I can imagine what's going to happen to gold as soon as fiat currency is going to collapse. It's going to be because gold's always been a standard for money, right? It's never going to change. It's been around for thousands and thousands of years. So it's going to be erratic. It's going to be fluctuating, but it's always going to hold value. It's certainly going to hold value a lot longer over a lot longer period of time than any fiat currency would. Fiat currency is not backed by anything, Jeff. Backed by nothing.
It's just a promissory note.
Once upon a time, a $100 bill was the equivalent of $100 in gold. Once upon a time, that's the correct way to use money. It's a promissory note, but not anymore. It's just rubbish. It's just backed by nothing, and when it all collapses, what then?
Exactly, it's an illusion, isn't it? An illusion of currency because it's got no gold backing, so it's
got no backing. It's useless. Right. Useless. So, I mean, we saw what happened in 2008. What I'm studying is that's going to be a pimple compared to what's going to happen when the global markets completely collapse. Then you'll have this massive transfer of wealth. You'll have this people going into default left, right, centre. So put your eggs away. That's what I'd be thinking. You'd be wise to do is to get your cryptocurrency portfolio up and running, which I've done. Some gold and silver, which I'm planning to do very shortly when I get some money. And this is, to me, it's a warning light. It's a real warning light. Look what the banks can do. I mean, Jesus, look what they can do. I know I haven't done the full research on New Zealand, but I believe there's been what they did in New Zealand and what they've done in America is if people start rushing the banks, they just freeze the accounts. You can't get to your stuff. So
very alarming. So,
there are troubled times ahead, I believe. There are really troubled times ahead. We're on this bubble that's just blowing. It's expanding. World record bubble we're on. Oh, people, all the naysayers say, no, it's going to be fine. We're just going to keep growing. You know what bubbles do, Jeff? When they burst, they don't deflate slowly. They collapse, right?
100%. And many reputable sources are saying the same thing, that's what we're heading for, an economic downturn, a financial collapse.
It's not when a bubble. It's called a bubble for a reason. When it pops, it bursts. It doesn't implode slowly like a leak on a tire. Give you plenty of time to sell your house, and no, it'll just collapse. Like my brother, I was talking to him yesterday. He's doing okay. He's got a property in Murrumbeena. He's renovated, done extensive renovations. He estimates he's got about $2 million worth of equity in that property. You do realise? I told him, you do realise, brother, that's not real money. Equity is not real money. It's not real at all. It's just an overinflated price of a house. Houses in Australia worth, one average home worth $1 million. It's a nonsense. You can buy houses in America. I go there all the time for about 50, 60 grand. You can buy a luxury home for 200 grand in America. Houses in Australia are over. When I tell people in America, this is my house, it's worth 1.2 million, they look at it and go, fuck, you can buy that for about 100 grand here. Yes, you could. Yeah, you could. And that's what I believe ultimately there is going to be a correction. I mean, you look at the Federal Reserve here, they're bumping up, lowering interest rates. They're trying to keep the economy propped up, but and just see there's going to be problems, Jeff. And things like this don't breed any confidence, right?
No.
You've got banks saying, right. We don't want you. We don't want you because when the shit hits the fan, people like you might have contingencies, and we like the ones that just go straight into foreclosure. I can tell you a few things about what I suspect might be some of the flags that have maybe, triggered Westpac into not wanting to do business with me, such as being unincorporated and registering their own name as an unincorporated entity. Certain things like this they don't like. They really want everybody and everything to be incorporated. So I've got unincorporated status with various parts. So the account was certainly unincorporated, and the business that was associated the account was unincorporated.
Do you believe that's what raised the alarm down there and made them push forward?
Yeah, I suspect they don't want unincorporated entities. They want everything to be incorporated so they can get at you because you're in their system, right? Not outside their system. Running an unincorporated as an unincorporated entity. Yeah.
And where's your next point of contact? What's your next step in this matter to try and recoup these funds?
Really, there's the ombudsman. Yeah. So putting the complaint with the ombudsman, they're generally pretty quick. The ombudsman, if they realise it's a matter of urgency, they're normally pretty good. So I've lodged that complaint. I lodged it yesterday, and I did get correspondence from them that the matter has been received.
Yes.
And that they would. They'll be in touch with me in due course. And I have had some success with the financial ombudsman regarding banks in the past, and had some real successes. The banks will tell you, "Oh, we can't do that. We can't do that." No. That's that. Let's say there was some fraudulent activity on one of my accounts a year or so ago. Significant amount of money was taken. Mm-hmm. The banks have anti-fraudulent processes in place. They and I'll name them, the ANZ, who I'm actually still with, said, no, that's outside of our scope. You authorised that, rah, rah, rah. Well, I went to the ombudsman, I got the money back. The bank weren't going to help me. Oh, absolutely, the bank were going to do nothing. So if I had just done nothing except what the banks were going to offer, I would have got nothing. Went to the ombudsman, boom, 2 weeks, all of it was refunded. PayPal, the same thing. I've had great success with the financial ombudsman with PayPal. If PayPal ever put restrictions on your accounts, or if they try and hold your funds for 180 days, which they sometimes do, fuck that. Straight to the financial ombudsman, boom, PayPal, 24 hours, you've got access to your funds again. Yeah, so the financial ombudsman is a good watchdog. They do well, and they can be beneficial, and they're powerful. So I suggest people use them. And certainly in this matter, that's where I'm at right now. And I would imagine, Jeff, that once they get full wind of this, that they'll take some action. But I'd imagine that the cheque might turn up and prior to any action being
Fingers
required.
Crossed. But when you're dealing with large amounts of money, you can't take no for an answer.
Well, where the ombudsman are right now is I've basically said, where's my money? Just where now? I just want to know where it is. I just want to know where it is.
And that's not too much to ask, is it? And Australia Post, they can't tell you if anything's been mailed out, anything.
No, that's right. If they just said, look, even if they just said, no, look, Paul, the money's being held in a government deposit, blah, 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 okay, at least I've got something to work with. But right now, I've got nothing to work with. Even if they just said, oh, look, it's being posted in the mail, you'll get it on Friday, sorry for the inconvenience, rah, rah, rah. That would probably have stopped me from, bothering the ombudsman. But right now, with me not knowing, I have to. You've got to fucking. What if they're doing nothing? So who knows? It's just the unknown nature of it that's quite deplorable.
Well, hopefully you don't have to go and contact lawyers and file a whole lawsuit in regards to this matter.
Depending on what the ombudsman say, that would be obviously what would be. I mean, seriously, Jeff, is it going to be a situation where I'm suing the banks? I mean, for stealing. I mean, the money has to go somewhere. So all I'm really using the ombudsman up is to give them a bit of a hurry up, right? Mm-hmm. And the other thing that's disgusting too is these people in the call centre. I believe they have endeavoured to try and help me, but they themselves are not being informed by their superiors or at the high echelons of the banking. They're not being told. They're coming back saying, Paul, they won't tell us. They just tell me to tell. They've just told me, that's the representative, to tell me, that we can't offer you anything. We can't expand on the letter. And they might be off the phone for like 15 minutes before they get that. And I've been dissatisfied with that, and I've held them on the phone for like an hour just conversing with them, saying, no, go back. Find out what is going on. What is going on? I'm not going anywhere until you tell me where that money is, right? And they fail every time.
Very scary, isn't it?
Well, there's people in that banking sector that I believe that do know what's going on, just they're not able to share information. Now, why that is, I don't know. Is it because there might be some legal recourse involved, or they don't want to make admissions? They definitely don't want to make admissions, that's for certain. No.
It sounds like a lot of it's above their pay grade, perhaps, as well.
Don't know. I don't know what's going on. There must be somebody there stroking a cat or something saying, we won't give him the money, maybe some Dr. Evil up there. I don't know. But there's somebody powerful up there that won't inform the workers or that, I keep getting, when I contact, I got, after my girlfriend listed the complaint on the Westpac Facebook page, they were quick to move on that. They were real quick to move on that. They didn't like that being posted. And then my partner gave me the link. I contacted the Westpac person, the representative on the Facebook page, the fan group or whatever, fan group, as if they've got fans. And he contacted me and says, you go to contact this number. I said, yeah. The 132032, yeah, done that, mate, about 10 times. What else? Oh, yeah, you go to our complaints. Yeah. So I'll go through the exercise, but it's a waste of time. I'll do it, but it's a waste of time. But at least I'll have record that I did lodge the complaint when the Ombudsman contacted me, I guess. But, it's a bit of a joke, Jeff, to be frank.
Yeah, full credit for not losing your temper with them and being polite and courteous, because not a lot of people could be tactful like that. When you're talking about large sums of money, people would start losing their cool quick smart, but you're handling it in a very professional way. That deserves applause.
Yeah, look, Jeff, I'm not saying I'm a millionaire, but I'd imagine people that, that are other people in similar circumstances would be having kittens, mate. They could become suicidal. You'd be beside yourself. I mean, it's a real disconcerting thing to feel that your bank account's gone from 50 grand to zero overnight. Click of a button. And no explanation. Remember, we've got to remember, no explanation, nothing offered, nothing given. And no explanation as to where your money is. Not an explanation as to why they've done it. Fuck that, that's gone. No explanation as to where it is and what they're doing with it, right? That's the bit that's scary. Can you imagine? It's the stuff that nightmares are made of. You go to the bank thinking this is a safe institution. I put my money there so it's safe. It's fucking gone. It's not safe. Think about that, folks. You put your money in the bank and it's gone. How safe is that? Well, you wouldn't do it again. I've got concerns, Jeff. I've got concerns about doing it again. Is that really mine or is it not mine? Is it mine? Sort of. How could you ever feel it was with what I know now?
Hopefully this serves as a warning for people with unincorporated accounts.
How could anybody bank with the Westpac if they're armed with the information that I'm giving you and that you guys know? How could you ever bank with the Westpac and say, well, that could never happen to me? Or how could you ever confidently say, no, my money's safe with Westpac? How could you say that? You can't. You just physically can't. That's it. It's the end of the game. Your money's not safe in a bank. It's not. I've proven it. I have first-hand knowledge. It's not safe. It can be taken and your account balance can be reduced to zero, as I've demonstrated. Zero.
This serves as an important message for people that think they have security with the banking system, because it's actually quite the opposite. It's very daunting to have money vanish from an account and then have no correspondence.
There it is. $44,000. And the next day, look at it, zero. And the explanation on that was on the 21st of the 8th that happened. And they call it, this is what they're calling it, a reversal of a credit transaction, right? So they're calling it a reversal of a credit transaction on the 21st of the 8th, 19 hour. The closing balance was 44. It was they withdrew. They withdrew. Remember, just think about that, folks. I didn't withdraw it. They withdrew it without my consent. They withdrew $44,762, and the closing balance is now zero.
Devastating.
Amazing, right?
Yeah.
Fucking shocking. Just shocking. Shocking.
I'm so sorry that this has happened to you, Paul. Please keep in contact with us here. Hopefully you'll receive a check in the mail. Let's keep at this, and hopefully there'll be resolution to this serious problem.
Yeah, I'm certain there will be. Well, one way or another there will be. I'll keep at it until something pops up. I'm sure a check will turn up in the mail, but if it doesn't, Jeff, you'll be the first to know. And if I could offer one message to people out there, don't bank with Westpac. Ring them and say, ring. I urge people to fucking ring Westpac on 132 032. Ring Westpac and say, hey, a buddy of mine, real well-to-do guy, family man, had $44,000 taken from his bank account, went to zero with no money. Can that happen to me? Ask them, could that happen to me? And if they say no, they're liars.
It's all very shocking circumstances.
Can you go, if you're with Westpac or going to bank with Westpac or planning to bank with Westpac, ask them, can you guys take the money out of my bank account for no reason and nothing offered, with no reason offered? I can tell you the answer to that is yes. If they say no, they're liars.
Very scary.
Don't bank with Westpac. They're out. Westpac. Don't bank with Westpac.
Thank you for your time today, Paul.
Good on you, mate.
Well, that does it for another show. If any of the viewers have received letters from their bank stating their accounts are being closed or something similar, please leave a description in the comments section. We'd like to hear about it here at We Are Change. I'll leave you with a clip from Smoke and Joe McHale over at the Save the World Army. They do phenomenal work over there, so be sure to check them out. And I'll catch you next time on the We Are Change talk show, where we expose corruption, one episode at a time.
And Jeffro, Save the World Warrior 1032 from Werribee, Victoria, Australia. Great to see you, Jeffro. Man, I was so happy to see you posting those pics of you after jiu-jitsu training. Once again, I recommend everybody learn martial arts and martial sports. I cannot recommend jiu-jitsu highly enough. Build your mind, build your body, build your spirit, build your discipline, learn how to fight and defend yourself in a real world situation. Learn how to choke people unconscious like that.
Are you fed up with the propaganda and deception from mainstream media? Well, you deserve better. That's why the We Are Change talk show is here. I'd like to welcome everybody to the Australia Unite for Children's Rights event. My name's Jeff O'Toole. Have you experienced an injustice or a form of corruption? Well, phone the We Are Change talk show today.
My son has, he contracted Listeria meningitis at birth, but I believe this happened to him intentionally, that somebody actually got to him and poisoned him.
If you could look into the camera and speak to these accusers, what would you say to them?
I'd say to them to actually go and find someone real to go and chase and to leave me alone, because I don't deserve the treatment that I'm getting from you, that's for sure. And you guys should actually be held accountable for the harassment and all the undue stress and money that you have cost me over all this time.
Yeah, I just wanted to thank you for having me on. I really appreciate it. Like you said, I think people need to work together.
Pleasure, brother. Nice to see some voices in Australia doing this sort of thing.
It's a pleasure to be here, and certainly appreciate the platform that you've created.
Thank you for having me on. We Are Change has a great reputation, so I'm glad to be on your show. And
Thank you. Thank you for having me, and I appreciate it as well.
Excellent. Good luck.
Thank you for having me, Jeff.
Thank you for having me, and just, thanks for supporting victims down there.
So don't hesitate. Phone the We Are Change talk show today. The number is on your screen.